Okay. Good evening, everybody. I, Ricardo Macedo, the Chair of the San Ysidro School District Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. I would like to ask all members of the committee to mute their devices at this time. Committee members and the public shall participate in this meeting via teleconference. The public may view this meeting by accessing the YouTube link provided on the agenda. Members of the public are welcome to record this meeting using their own personal devices. The district will also make an audio recording available upon request to the district office. Prior to roll call, I would like to make clear for the record of this meeting, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that this meeting is conducted pursuant to Assembly Bill number 136 and Resolution number 21/22-0030. To listen to this meeting in Spanish, please call 1-254-859-0332 and enter the access code 865-930-864 #. Para escuchar esta junta en español, llame al 1-254-859-0332 y marque el código de acceso 865-930-864 I'll now ask Marilyn Adrianson, Chief Business Official, to conduct the roll call for the attendance. Ms. Adrianson?
Yes, I will now conduct the roll call, starting with Mr. Ricardo Macedo.
Present.
Mrs. Gloria McCartney.
Present.
Mr. Larry Rodriguez.
Present.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.
Here, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And Mr. Kenneth Johnson.
Present.
Thank you. We have all 5 members present.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, I would like to request that each member respond to the following questions. I'm going to start off with Ms. McCartney. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Were you able to hear proceedings on this end until now?
Yes, I have been.
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Ms. McCartney. Mr. Larry Rodriguez, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Were you able to hear proceedings on this end until now?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Johnson, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Were you able to hear proceedings on this end until now?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Were you able to hear proceedings on this end until now?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of the agenda?
Yes, I do.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. We're moving on to item number 3, flag salute. Please join me in the flag salute. We'll be displaying a picture of the flag on the screen, like those in the meeting, to include the other committee members to please put your microphones on mute to avoid feedback at this time. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's move on to item number 4. Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. I'll ask each member if they have any corrections or additions to the agenda. For this item and all other items on the agenda, I will give each committee member an opportunity to speak by addressing each committee member. Please make sure to unmute your microphone before speaking. I will start off with Ms. McCartney. Ms. McCartney, have you had an opportunity to review the agenda? If so, do you have any additions, corrections?
I have, thank you, and I do not have any additions or corrections.
Thank you. Mr. Larry Rodriguez, have you had a chance to review the agenda and the minutes? If so,
Yes,
any
Mr. Macedo,
additions?
yes, I have. And no, I do not have any corrections.
Thank you. Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., have you had a chance to review the agenda? And do you have any changes or corrections to the agenda?
I don't. Yes, I wrote it.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Kenneth Johnson, have you had a chance to review the agenda? And if so, do you have any changes or additions to the agenda?
I've had a chance to review the agenda and I do not have any changes or adjustments to it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's response. Ms. Adrianson, I will now ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. This is Gloria McCartney.
This is Larry. I second Ms. McCurney's motion.
Would you please do a roll call, Ms. Adrianson?
Yes, I will now conduct the roll call vote, starting with Mrs. Gloria McCartney,
Yes.
Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Ricardo Macedo.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the next item is a public comment communications. Ms. Adrianson, do we have any public comments via email or telephone at this time?
We do not have any public comments at this time.
Okay, hearing none, we're moving on to the minutes, item number 6. Item number 6 is the approval of the minutes of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee as of March 17th, 2022. I will now ask for a motion to approve the minutes as of March 17th, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Larry. Yes, I so move.
Thank you, Larry.
Mayor Lopez, I second it.
Lopez. Thank you so much. Ms. Adrianson, would you do roll call, please?
Yes,
Vote.
calling for the roll call vote for agenda number 6 minutes, starting with Mrs. McCurney,
Yes.
Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Macedo.
Yes.
The vote passes 5-0.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 7, it's the expenditure report. Ms. Adrianson, will you please give us an update?
Yes. So this expenditure report overall, it's as of May 10th, 2022. Nothing has changed much in the expenditure report. The measure 2T overview is still the same from the sale of Series A. So we have measure T. Let me see, there's a little bit over about $53 million. Bonds were issued $15.83 million. And we still have an unissued amount of $37,155,000. We issued $15,830,000. The delivery expenses about $468,000, and we paid off our 2017 COPS of about $15,362,000. So as of August 4th, 2021, we have a zero balance. So we have no funds in measure T Series A at this time. Measure U, not much activity as well, just earns additional interest. So now the total amount in cash is a little bit over $20 million. So you can see there as of May 10th, 2022, $20,054,366. We anticipate selling Series B in 2023. So we will see another series of bonds sold in 2023. And then the next page, we've completely spent all of Proposition C. So it is now at a zero balance, fully spent. And you can see there as of March 14th, 2022, we are at a zero balance.
Thank you, Ms. Adrianson. I would like to ask you to ask each committee member if they have any questions at this time. Would you start off with Ms. McCurney, please?
Mrs. McCurney, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Larry? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do it or you want to do it?
You do it. You do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mr. Rodriguez, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., do you have any questions?
No, not this time.
Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Johnson, do you have any
No
questions?
questions. Oh, I'm sorry. No questions.
Oh, thank you. And Mr. Macedo, do you have any questions?
No, not this time.
Thank you. That was an information item.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well,
Moving on to item number 8, is a presentation of the annual report. And this is going to be set up for approval. Would you like to discuss the annual report, the findings, if there were any findings, or a quick summary?
Yes, so this is our annual report, and this one's for 21-22. We prepared this annual report every fiscal year. It provides an overview of our various bonds, measures, Proposition C, bond overview, measures T and measure U. It also provides the agenda items throughout the year from our BOC committee. So I did also prepare a draft presentation for our governing board meeting on June 23rd. So Mr. Macedo, I believe you'll present this one as well.
That is correct.
Oh, thank you. So the presentation is pretty much a summary of the annual report. And that's on June 23rd, 2022. Gives a background information for measures T and measure U. The different rates and the series. These are our committee members, and we still have 2 vacant parent positions, which we have received at least 1 application, and we're in the process of reaching out to other parent groups and attending various meetings in the district to see if we can gather more parent applications. Yeah, the 1 application we did receive, she ended up working, acquiring a job within the district, so she no longer qualifies. It's unfortunate. In the next slide, we have all of the board representative and staff. So we have our board member, our president, Mr. Rudy Lopez. We need to change that to president. Myself, Ms. Pat Cotto. We have Paul Acevedo, our legal counsel, Ty Dorwood, and our construction project manager, Mr. Tom Silva.
Mhm.
And these are our responsibilities. Our various VOC agenda items. So for our first meeting of August 19th. Meeting on October 14th, 2021. We had to cancel our January 20th, 2022 meeting because we did not have a quorum. March 17, 2022, our organizational meeting. And then tonight's meeting. These are our agenda items. And then the report will be presented to the governing board on June 23rd.
Okay.
Have any questions?
If you could go down each committee member just to
Yes.
ask them if they have any questions at the time, this would be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Mrs. McCurney, do you have any questions? Oh, I think, did Mrs. McCurney log off? Oh, yes, she did. Okay, Mrs. McCurney needed to attend another meeting. So I think she's logged off as at 6:15 p.m. Mr. Larry Rodriguez, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Adrian, for your work on that report. No, I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., do you have any questions?
Nope, do not have any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Johnson, do you have any
No.
questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Macedo, do you have any questions?
None at this time. Appreciate putting the report together. No.
Okay, thank you.
No, we will need, in order to present, we just need to receive a motion to approve the draft report as shown.
Mr. Rodriguez, I move to approve.
Thank you, Larry.
Lopez, second.
Ms. Adrian, would you do a roll call, please?
We'll now conduct a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Macedo.
Yes.
So the vote passes 4-0.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Moving on to item number 9, it's proposed meeting schedule for 2023. We will need a vote from the committee to approve these meeting dates.
Mr. Rodriguez, so moved, not to approve.
Your second? I'll second it.
This is Kenneth Johnson. I moved to second. I just had to verify that December 14th date.
No problem. Appreciate that.
The other dates we need to line up, March 2023 and May 2023 are to be determined because we need to we need to match up with the governing board dates as well. So we have no conflict.
Thank you.
You're
Would you
welcome.
please do a roll call?
Yes, I
vote?
will now conduct a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Macedo.
Yes.
The vote passes 4-0.
Thank you so much. Moving on to item number 10, the estimated bond related project timeline. Mr. Acevedo, could you take it away for us, please?
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, before we get started, I just want to make everybody aware that me and Tom Silv have been working hard on coming up with designs and coming up with some projects that we can tackle start this summer. Hopefully get a bunch of them completed this summer. Along with that, I've been working with Marilyn on getting COVID technologies on board. We're going to start the software training probably within the next 30 days. The software we're going to be using is accountability and Kobe Docs. And this so we can start tracking our finances and provide reports to the BOC here. So as you can see here on this slide here, these are the projects that we're looking at tackling, started tackling this summer. We started planning and some of the design phases, and we started a quick timeline on how long it's going to take to get some of these projects completed. So as you can see, Willow Fencing, we have La Mirada Playground, Smythe Playground. Next slide. Vista Del Mar Volleyball. We need to order the science furniture for the children that are moving up from Ocean View Hills, the 6th graders, to Vista Del Mar. We have for the entire CDCs, for the Universal TK program and the Child Development Program, we're going to be ordering new furniture for all the classrooms to show, I guess, parity within all the classrooms. So if one child moves from one CDC room to another, all the classrooms are the same. You'll notice the district rooftops. We're gonna some rooftops are in pretty bad shape, so we've been meeting with vendors and getting some information together so we can purchase off CMAS and look at doing some district roofing. Next slide. And then we're starting to do some planning in advance for the rest of the playgrounds. So you can see Willow Playground, Sunset Playground be next. Those will start in July. Then Ocean View Hills will come around in August, that design phase. But along with the quick start projects for the summer, we're going to look at doing all new asphalt throughout the entire district, or the slurry coat on there. With the slurry coat, we're hoping in the back we could put sunshield slurry in the back to actually reduce the heat out in effect by 10 to 15 degrees in the back when the children are playing back there. So hopefully we can reduce any kind of heat stress that the kids go through when they're out there, because San Ysidro is a hot region. And that's all I have. Any questions?
This is Larry, and I don't know if this is a question for Paul or for Marilyn, but
Mhm.
just with the move that was going with Vista and Ocean View Hills, would any of these bond funds, are they going to be involved? Or I'm assuming probably not, but
Oh, for the movement from sixth grade
right,
to VDM, OVH to VDM?
correct.
Probably for initially, the furniture would be purchased by bond funds, and the additional wing that that won't happen in the summer. That takes about 24 months to build that one additional wing that's missing at VDM.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll most likely be bond funds.
So as it plays out, you'll be reporting out. So okay.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess one other comment, that we also do have our bond committee team, along with Tom Silva. We have 2 other members that are going to help us with our accounting process and keeping track of what's going on with the budget.
If I can make a comment on the accountability, Marilyn,
Yes.
this is for the benefit of the rest of the bond oversight committee members. The beauty of the accountability program is that it is designed and perfectly aligned with the Office of Public School Constructions and State Allocation Board format for when we have to generate reports down the road for either audits by them or reporting our expenditure reports. So the information we tie in, there's many different types of accounting programs we could use to account for our construction program, but accountability is one of the few. There's about 3 or 4 of them out there that align like accountability. One of the few that's just aligned perfectly with the state, so that it makes our closeout procedure so much more smoother. And we actually used it when we did Sunset School because we had to do an audit on that. That's just in case you're wondering why that one and not some other program. Thank you, Marilyn. That's
You're
all I have.
welcome. And I did want to add that we will need to hire or reposition 2 to 3 accounting positions so that we can track all the expenditures and revenue that will come into the bond program, because it's highly restricted and we need to keep very detailed information, which will be audited every year.
Marilyn, this is Larry. So are those existing positions or that would be dedicated to that task, or would you
Yes.
end up doing a recruitment for?
Right now, it would be a shift of some of our existing staff. We would need to use a portion of the bond funds. They would need to be funded out of bond funds because they're working with bond projects.
But that would be their main.
Majority, yes.
And
Yes.
there's no conflict if they're working on other non-bond funded tasks, or?
No, because they have to themselves need to track their hours. So they have to keep a separate document. We call it a personnel action report. And they have to delineate the time of the amount of hours spent in the day.
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. So it's just whatever is dedicated to the bond fund task would be billed to that, and the others would be billed to separately.
Yes, correct.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I got one. How do I say this? I know I'm a little behind with some stuff, but just for Señora Acevedo, what is the timeline for anything's going to happen on Buyer?
Oh, that Buyer, I think that's the third sale, the
Okay.
buyer site. We'll probably start doing some design work on the second when we sell some of the bond funds next year.
Okay.
But at this time, I don't see buyer happening for at least 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, the
Okay.
bond for Series B for 2023,
Mhm.
between increment 1 and increment 2, we hope to build the community center.
Mhm.
That will be
Okay.
the first project that will go up on the Briar property.
Okay.
Yeah, primary focus with the next bond series sale, if I'm correct, will be the San Ysidro Middle School modernization project. That facility really needs it.
Yes, that'll be the
That's all I got.
2023. Mhm.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Hearing none. Tom, Paolo, thank you very much for your time. Move on
Thank
to
you.
Item number 11. Thank you. Are there any future agenda items that BOC would like to add for our next meeting? And Ms. Adrianson, would you go down and ask each committee member if they'd like to add anything, any future agenda items?
Mr. Larry Rodriguez, would you like to add any future agenda items? Mr. Rodriguez?
We can come back to him. I
Okay.
know he's still on, but
No, sorry, yes.
okay.
Would you like to add any future items to the
Um,
agenda?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr., would you like to add?
Nope, no, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Johnson, do you have any agenda items to add?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Macedo, do you have any items to add?
Just, I would say just continue to have the updates. I know that I noticed that on the chart that was put together before us a couple of minutes ago, there was a lot of projects scheduled to be finalized or started in June of 2022.
Mhm.
So I would just say have that just another update at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Do we need to have a motion to approve that addition of
Yes,
item? Okay.
yes, we
Have
do.
a
have
motion?
Mhm.
Motion.
Okay, that was Mr. Manuel Lopez. Motion to approve agenda item,
I second that. A motion is Kenneth Johnson.
and Kenneth Johnson seconded. Can you do a roll call vote, please, Ms. Adrianson?
Calling for the roll call vote for agenda item 11, future agenda item requests, starting with Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Macedo. Mr. Macedo?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. The vote passes 4-0.
Okay. And then I think the hardest item is going to be the next item. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
All right, that was Manuel Lopez. A second.
Who was the second?
I'll second that.
Oh, thank you,
Ricardo,
Mr. Macedo.
you do roll call vote, please. That's 6:29.
Thank you. Calling for a roll call vote for the adjournment at 6:29 PM, starting with Mr. Larry Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel Lopez Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
and Mr. Macedo.
Yes.
The vote passes 4-0. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
So much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
night, everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.